Sweetheart, You Done Me Wrong. Well, that's the name of a song recorded by Bill Monroe in 1945. Now, you might be wondering, where in the world did Clearbrook find a small, unknown 1945 Bill Monroe song? Well, I'll tell you right after we do the song. You told me that your love was true. Sweetheart, I thought the world of you. But now you've left me all alone. I have no one to call my own. Now, sweetheart, you've done me wrong. You have left me all alone. Maybe there will come a time, sweetheart, when you will change your mind. Shall forget the day when you said you're going away. I couldn't believe that it was true. After all the love I had for you. Now, sweetheart, you've done me wrong. You have left me all alone. Maybe there will come a time, sweetheart, when you will change your mind. This road is rough and rocky too, as I travel on, dear, without you. But I'm still a-praying for the time, sweetheart, when you will change your mind. Now, sweetheart, you done me wrong. You have left me all alone. Maybe there will come a time, sweetheart, when you will change your mind. Now, the question hangs in the air. Where in the world did Clearbrook find this song? Well, here's the story. In December of 1956, the newly rich and famous Elvis Presley made a triumphant re-entry into Memphis. He had come home for the Christmas holidays to see his mom and dad. While he was there, he decided he'd drop by Sun Studio and have a little chat with his old boss, Sam Phillips. Sam had originally signed Elvis to Sun Studio, and then after a while he sold Elvis's recording rights to RCA for the princely sum of, I believe, $10,000. And with that $10,000, he'd bought the rights to 3 up-and-coming young singers. So he traded in 1 and got 3. And on that particular day, 2 of those people whose contracts he purchased were there in Sun Studio. First was Carl Perkins. Now, Carl Perkins had already had 1 hit, Blue Suede Shoes. But he hadn't done anything for almost a year since. He couldn't get anything to sell. So he was in there laboring away in Sun Studio with a small band trying to come up with Lightning in a Bottle, the second big hit. He had this band of like a pedal steel and a bass and another guitar and drums and a piano, and he's recording away. And there on piano was the second of the 3 guys that Sam Phillips had bought the rights to. And that was, of course, the unknown Jerry Lee Lewis. So now we got Elvis and Carl Perkins and Jerry Lee, and they all know each other, so they're poking each other on the arm, saying, "Hey man, how things going in Vegas?" and all that kind of stuff. And then they start singing. just kind of sliding from one song to another, no music in front of them, just singing from memory bits of pieces of various songs. Phillips runs out there, moves the microphone. This is a one microphone studio, moves the microphone into the middle of these three guys, and the band runs back in the control room, starts running tape, picks up the telephone, calls the third guy whose contract he'd purchased, an unsuccessful encyclopedia salesman named Johnny Cash. And he says, "Hey, Johnny, get on over here. Elvis is here. Carl's here. Jerry Lee's here. They're jamming. Get on over here." So Johnny Cash runs over there. Now we got all four of these guys in the studio together singing, and that's what's known as the $1 Million Quartet. A one-day recording, December 4th, 1956, a famous day in the history of rock and roll music. And along the way, and there's 47 cuts on this CD. This tape has been put together as a 47-cut CD. The 27th of those 47 cuts is now, "Sweetheart, you done me wrong. You have left me all alone. Maybe there will come a time, sweetheart, when you will change your mind." Elvis thought of this. You can hear him start into the singing and the other guys join in. And the reason he thought of it is he's a big Bill Monroe fan. Bill Monroe was famous country bluegrass. He was called the father of bluegrass, and he was on Grand Ole Opry when Elvis was coming up and growing up. And so he really liked Bill Monroe's sound. But when Elvis recorded these songs, and he recorded several Bill Monroe bluegrass songs, but when he recorded them, he didn't do them bluegrass style. What style did he do them in? Well, nobody knew what to call it. It sure wasn't bluegrass. It sure wasn't country western swing. It sure wasn't pop. It sure wasn't black rhythm and blues. It sure wasn't folk. Some people called it rockabilly, but what it really was one of the roots of rock and roll. This was one of the beginnings. Elvis's reinterpretation of Bill Monroe style bluegrass. It's one of the roots of rock and roll. Now, to just show you how different that is, if you remember how Elvis did songs like "The Blue Moon of Kentucky Just to Keep on Shining." That was a Bill Monroe bluegrass song, but not the way Bill Monroe sang it. Here's the way Bill Monroe sounded, and if you don't believe it, type Bill Monroe up in there and listen to 3 or 4 of his songs, including some where he solos. This is the way Bill Monroe sounds. "You told me that your love was true. Sweetheart, I thought the world of you, but now you left me all alone. I have no doubt to call my own." I have no doubt? No, I have no one to call my own. That's the way he sounded. Well, that's today's lesson in the foundations of rock and roll. So long. I have no doubt. Where did that come from?